think I'm wearing this hat? I'm kidding. You know that I wear this hat in a lot of places. We just got this. This is good because it's organic, but especially because there's no sugar added. So, it is sweetened with non-nutritive sweetener, so organic stevia leaf extract. So hopefully that won't kill us too. And yes, I'm gonna drink it straight out of the bottle because we don't change, okay? You can take away the liquor, we're still drinking shit out of the bottle, alright? This is love at first sip. Lust at first gulp. I did this at church tonight. It says God will never abandon you. I'm working on this poster right now. It says Jesus didn't die on a cross for nothing. Okay. But there's something that I'd sent to a person in my life that's been saying a lot of things to me recently that are not in good faith. Some of these things are very true, but because they're in bad faith, I don't give a fuck. But I'm not denying anything. Like, whenever somebody has negative things to say about me, they're probably right. You know, I have enough self-awareness and understanding to see that there are certain aspects of my personality that are really aggravating or inconvenient for other people. I would say that it's more of an inconvenience than it is. Like, I know it's a personal flaw. Like, some of it's a personal flaw, but others, it's just like, okay, you don't like this about me. That doesn't make it wrong, you know? But yeah, he's just been saying a lot of, like, really condescending. It went from passive aggressive to just straight up aggressive. And I sent him a Bible verse, and I don't even think that he read it because he got offended by the fact that I was sending him scripture. But I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read the whole chapter, okay? Because it's something that I really understand. It's from the prophet Jeremiah, okay? So this is chapter 15. The specific passage that I sent him was Jeremiah 15. Verse 17, I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because of thy hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation. And I was trying to explain to him why I am separate, why I have to be alone, and yeah, like I said, I don't even think he read the verse. So I'm just going to read the whole thing. Because, yeah, I really, really relate to this. So, Jeremiah chapter 15. Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death, to death. and such as are for the sword, to the sword, and such as are for the famine, to the famine, and such as are for the captivity, to the captivity. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord: the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. And I will cause them to be removed into all kingdoms of the earth, because of Manasseh the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, for that which he did in Jerusalem. Please forgive me for not being able to pronounce these words. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Or who shall bemoan thee? Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest? Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Lord. Thou art gone backward. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee and destroy thee. I am weary with repenting. And I will fan them with a fan in the gates of the land. I will bereave them of children. I will destroy my people, since they return not from their ways. Their widows are increased to me above the sand of the seas. I have brought upon them against the mother of the young men a spoiler at noonday. I have caused him to fall upon it suddenly, and terrors upon the city. She that hath borne 7 languisheth. She hath given up the ghost. Her son is gone down while it was yet day. She hath been ashamed and confounded, and the residue of them will I deliver to the sword before their enemies, saith the Lord. Woe is me, my mother, that thou hast borne me a man of strife and a man of contention to the whole earth. I have neither lent on usury, nor men have lent to me on usury, yet every one of them doth curse me. The Lord said, Verily it shall be well with thy remnant. Verily I will cause the enemy to entreat thee well in the time of evil and in the time of affliction. Shall iron break the northern iron and the steel? Thy substance and thy treasures will I give to the spoil without price, and that for all thy sins, even in all thy borders. And I will make thee to pass with thine enemies into a land which thou knowest not. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, which shall burn upon you. O Lord, thou knowest. Remember me and visit me, and revenge me of my persecutors. Take me not away in thy long suffering. Know that for thy sake I have suffered rebuke. Thy words were found, and I did eat them. And thy word was unto me the joy and rejoicing of mine heart, for I am called by thy name, O Lord God of hosts. I sat not in the assembly of the mockers, nor rejoiced. I sat alone because of thy hand, for thou hast filled me with indignation. Why is my pain perpetual, and my wound incurable, which refuseth to be healed? Wilt thou be altogether unto me as a liar, and as waters that fail? Therefore, thus saith the Lord, if thou return, then will I bring thee again, and thou shalt stand before me, and if thou take forth the precious from the vial, thou shalt be as my mouth. Let them return unto thee, but return not thou unto them. And I will make thee unto this people a fenced brazen wall, and they shall fight against thee, but they shall not prevail against thee, for I am with thee to save thee and to deliver thee, saith the Lord. And I will deliver thee out of the hand of the wicked, and I will redeem thee out of the hand of the terrible. There's a lot there. So basically the world is shit. The people are terrible. The people aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Whoever is of God can see that. It's God's will to see that. Just like since they're doing the will of the world. Now, this is my interpretation, okay? Keep in mind, I am a laywoman, all right? Since they are doing the will of the world, they get what they deserve. So there's no point in God trying to save them because they don't want to be saved. And so, yeah, when you can see things clearly, when you can understand what's actually happening, it is going to fill you with a lot of emotion. And because you're filled with so much emotion, you have to stay the fuck away from people. Because most people don't get that. That's why their emotions just lead them down a path of even worse decisions. You know, like tweeting. It's not fixing anything. It's not helping anything. People keep doing it because they don't know what else to do. I remember when smartphones came out, I was so sickened by the whole idea of it. And now that it's impossible to deny, people are still denying that they could act differently. I realized that I am so lucky to have managed to escape all of that. But the reason why is because I really am just different. Like, I will Neo my way out, you know that scene where he was dodging all the bullets and shit. Yeah, that's what I'll do. People don't know that it's their responsibility to pivot, you know? So they complain about how they have to do things. They're just a weak person. It's as simple as that. But they don't realize that they have the strength within themselves to behave differently. And I used to be an alcoholic, so I get it. I get, like, succumbing to something terrible for you. I get that. I used to wake up every single day and immediately start drinking. I put vodka in a water bottle and biked around town, okay? The difference is, I wasn't being encouraged to do that, okay? They're literally encouraging you to be an addict. Only the thing that you're addicted to is the internet. The thing that you're addicted to is false approval from a false world, okay? So, yeah, that helps them. I wish liquor companies would start just promoting binge drinking. I wish that they would start promoting straight up alcoholism, because that's exactly what big tech has done. That's what Netflix does. That's what a bag of chips does, okay? If you look at your average bag of potato chips, it's just like encouraging you to eat the whole fucking bag. I mean, look at the advertising if you want proof as to how much of a sack of shit everybody is that works for these companies. They do not have a fucking soul, dude. So yeah, if you make decisions every day, if you choose consciousness, if you choose a lifestyle where you're more aware of that, it is going to fill you with so much indignation, it's not even funny. That's why my comedy is dark, okay? Because, yeah, a lot of these people, I don't want to say they're worthless, because that's such a terrible thing to say, and that's not true. But what are they worth? And I don't mean that from a transactional, like, money, I'm talking experience. Like, do they even pay attention to their experience? Because if they did, they'd want to change it a little bit. So, as I've said with psychiatry, as I've said with technology, they're exploiting you because you make yourself easily exploitable. When you don't value yourself and you don't value your humanity, it's going to be taken away from you. And it's all because of the negative experiences that people have, What if they have a positive experience that leads to a negative experience? I mean, I guess you can make that case about drugs and alcohol, but you can make that case about love. You can make that case about certain friendships. I'm sure it's really cool to join a gang. I'm sure that feels pretty good at first. I'm sure whenever you join a cult, you feel like you fit right in, right? You feel like you belong somewhere. That's the appeal of it. So pretty much everything that is pushed on you is done so through psychological manipulation. So it would make more sense to try to understand your psyche rather than run away like a scared little bitch. Okay, and that's what most people do. And there are so many failures in our society that you could just blame those failures for your failure. And the fact that you can't get your shit together, or you're angry all the time, or things aren't going your way, just blame that shit on somebody else. It's not your unreasonable expectations. Kemi, you know, one of my favorite people ever, even though he was a socialist, we forgive, Joe Strummer, he said this in an interview. Is one of the leading members of The Clash. Okay, he said in an interview that you should always blame yourself. Which is interesting because he, you know, spent so much time blaming capitalism for everything. But I do think that probably his reasoning for this is similar to mine. Like, I don't like capitalism much either. I don't think it's so evil. I think that people that say that want a boogeyman, but I think that capitalism just capitalizes on the way that the world is. The transactional element of human relationships, the transactional element of a person's psychological makeup and how, you know, they want approval and that they want to fit in and they want to be beautiful and they want to be wanted. They want to be wanted by society. They want to be wanted by a spouse. They want to be wanted by a job. You know, they're trying to find that sense of purpose. And, you know, it's like people that want to be married or have children, that is a biological and psychological need that people have. You know, community, human connection, that's a biological and psychological need. Okay, everything that I do on this channel is basically, you can call it a cope all you want. It kind of is. But I'm coping with the fact that the world fills me with indignation. I'm coping with the fact that I feel completely disconnected from everybody. And even the people that I like, even the people that I feel connected to, I can't wait to be by myself again. Because that emotion is like pouring out of me. And I can't share that with people. I can't give that to somebody. Even if they want it, I don't want to give it to them. You know, that's me. That's totally me. It has nothing to do with them. But, yeah, like, I think that all the stuff that's marketed to us, and I said this in a recent video about the concept of a housewife, yeah, it screwed us all up, you know? A lot of women want to be wives. A lot of women want to take care of their husbands. They want to make their husband dinner. They want to blow him under the table. They want to fucking do shit for him. They want to build him up. But they turn marriage into such a joke. And of course they had to manipulate women first. But they made it all about the materialistic side of it, you know? Like, the one special day of getting married, you know, that's such a fucking monstrosity. I don't know why people do it. If I were gonna get married, I would either do it in the backyard or I would do it at a wedding chapel or something. I'd go to Vegas, you know? That's what I would do. I wouldn't go to the courthouse because fuck the government. Why do we want to get the government involved? Why would we want to be in a state facility? Anyway, yeah, marriage is like in your mind. It doesn't matter. Like if you meet the love of your life, if you meet your soulmate and you want to spend the rest of your life with them, like you don't need a piece of paper to prove that. If you're religious and you want to do right by your religion, you got to do it that way. I guess if you want the tax benefits, you got to do it through the state, right? But it's in your mind though. Because a lot of people, they can be married on paper and they could be married for religious reasons, but it doesn't mean shit if they're cheating on them or they're watching porn or they're not really being there for their spouse or they're on social media all the time You know, I hear this a lot from men. They say that they lost their wives to social media. Yeah. It's like a form of cheating. It really is. So, I understand the way that women are. That's why, like, I think social media is the devil. I think that it is the absolute worst thing for women ever. Because it capitalizes on the way that we are. And the fact that we want people's approval and shit like that. So, yeah. That's the reason why I do it the way that I do it. And if it seems like I'm just being stubborn and immature or whatever, like, fuck you. Classic, stubborn, immature response. Anyway. Takes a swig out of no sugar lemonade. Pretends that it's vodka. Anyway. Yeah, so much about American culture is designed to strip us of the natural needs that we have. So, the psychological need that we have for connection and stability and all that is replaced with the material of we have a house and we have a car, and, you know, that's how they fool men. So if you got the stuff, you're successful. If you got a good job where you make, you know, 6 figures or whatever the fuck, and you could provide your wife with a diamond ring, which she really doesn't give a fuck about. I mean, yeah, they've trained people to care about rocks on their fingers, you know? But they really don't. Because that rock is just a symbol for something else. It's a symbol for this void inside of her soul. Okay? So, any woman that gives a fuck about that, she ain't a good woman. Just like any man that's like, oh, well, if I'm not driving this fucking Corvette or, you know, whatever it is, he's a fucking loser. He's a loser if he has to drive a particular car in order to view himself as successful. You know, because there are plenty of people that get a good job, they got a nice house. They're miserable. They're all doing the same shit. It's just like what I've said with drugs. So you got poor people hooked on drugs, rich people hooked on drugs. Money doesn't make you happy. Not having money doesn't make you unhappy. It's all a mindset. You know, so you got rich people, poor people, married people, single people, black people, white people, brown people, yellow people, young people, old people, all on social media wasting their fucking life. Okay? So you can't tell me that, oh, the economy's bad. That's why people are so miserable, because they're in survival mode. Technically, we're always in survival mode, honey. Well, a lot of people are full of excuses as to why this is so bad. But it's because of culture, you know? I would say that the culture is just exploiting our lack of awareness into ourselves. Our lack of awareness into, like, the things that make us tick, the things that make us feel like shit, the things that bring us up, the things that bring us down. You know, we don't seem to be the slightest bit aware of any of that shit. And yeah, the people that run stuff are exploiting that, and good for them. At least they're making money off of our fucking dumbassery, you know? You could say that I'm a cunt sore for that shit, but it's just sad to me. It's sad that people choose a life of running away, you know? They're running away from having to accept the shittier part of themselves. And because they can't accept that, it's like they're living this fake ass life. I don't know, if they're not doing that, they're just obsessed with somebody else's life. They're obsessed with what some celebrity's doing. They're obsessed with a sports team. They're obsessed with a politician. They're obsessed with some bitch at work. You know? If I seem like I'm overly interested in somebody else, it's because I'm studying them. I'm trying to understand. There are plenty of people that study because they're trying to manipulate. I'm not trying to manipulate anybody. I'm trying to understand why they are the way they are. Because I legit want to help people, but you know, there are plenty of these people. The ones I study the most are the ones I can't help. But I feel really bad for them at the same time because, like, yeah. They got a bomb in their fucking brain, man. That thing's gonna go off every day and they're still not gonna figure out why, you know? So it's easier to keep blaming that bomb on different people. You can say, oh, you set this off, motherfucker. It's not because my dad doesn't accept me. It's not because I don't have as good a relationship with my mom as I want to think. It's not because I was molested. It's not because this horrible thing happened in school that I've suppressed. There's just all kinds of things that people internalize. And I think about that anytime that I'm dealing with somebody that's angry with me for reasons that I can understand, surface level understand, but then I'm like, okay, there's something else going on here. You shouldn't be this angry. And it shouldn't be such a vindictive thing, you know? Like, if somebody's talking to you in a particular way, it's very manipulative and coercive and all that. And yeah, that's not coming from a good place. And like, I don't take that shit personally because I know that person's dealing with something else. And it's not me. Even if my behavior, like whatever it was, like even if what I did wasn't right, or if I'm taking ownership for that shit, and you still want to talk to me in this condescending tone, like, I can't do that. I can't do it, bruh. That tone drives me nuts. But yeah, I looked it up, by the way. I said that I was going to look this up. Schizophrenics in relation to tone. Well, we do this thing called no affect, okay? So we talk in a very monotone voice. Or they said reduced speech. So, yeah. Apparently schizophrenics are the biggest threat because we don't want to talk. And isn't that funny? In a world that's obsessed with talking and it doesn't get us anywhere. In a world where like phones have literally destroyed all communication and all aspects of human life, it's just completely infiltrated and nuked the fuck out of it. And this thing was originally used to call people and talk. And now it's being used to like pretend to communicate. But you're really just avoiding yourself, you know? So it seems like we always just wanted to be disconnected, and then we can just blame it on said thing. But we still refuse to avoid said thing.